Hey everybody, how you guys all doing today? It is May 30th and I just was doing a little bit more research into actually testing and the new testing that they're opening up at the CVS's, doing drive-through testing, for the CV, and came across a bunch of articles talking about getting prepared for hurricanes. Okay, and I had already made a video, actually a couple in the past, talking about how I'm really worried about wildfire season, hurricane season, tornado season, due to the way that you have this so-called pandemic going on, right, with the social distancing and everything that's going on. And I knew that they were going to take advantage of this, okay? And we know that a lot of people aren't going to take these tests, right? Well, these are the ways, this is one of the ways that they're going to be able to twist your arm and maybe get you to have no choice but to be screened and to be tested with these natural disasters, which we know aren't natural anymore because of how much they manipulate them. But I'm going to play a couple videos here. I'm going to read a little bit of this article. I'll leave the article in the description, and I want you to listen to what they say. If a hurricane comes and takes out your city, I want you to listen how messed up this is. If you're going to want to get shelter, you are going to be tested. And if you are found to have, any symptoms, or they think you're a high risk, they are going to take you to separate shelters. Yeah.
Emergency officials are cutting the number of people allowed in the shelters, and they plan to screen everyone who wants to come inside. News4Jax reporter Joe McLean is in the studio with the new safety protocols as hurricane season approaches. Joe?
Joyce, should a hurricane hit, we hope it doesn't happen, but should it hit, Duval County has 29 facilities that will act as shelters for the general population. The challenge for emergency officials this year is keeping thousands of people safe from both a potential hurricane and the spread of the coronavirus. The National Weather Service is predicting a busy hurricane season, between 13 and 19 significant storm events, half of which are expected to be hurricanes.
Hurricane season begins June 1st. There's a storm impacting South Carolina today.
The COVID-19 pandemic prompted officials to take some extra safety steps, including health screenings to every person who enters an emergency storm shelter. They'll have their temperature taken, and they'll be asked about any international travel or exposure to COVID-19 in the last 2 weeks. Also, everyone inside the shelters will get a face mask and be allowed triple the usual amount of space to maintain social distance. Officials say this will actually reduce the total capacity of Duval County's shelters by about 60%.
The capacity based on Red Cross recommendations will change if we're in a COVID environment, but we have worked closely with the school board, with Department of Health, and with the Red Cross, and we have the capacity to handle any evacuation that we would need to do here in Duval County based on those new requirements.
But what if you need shelter and were exposed or diagnosed with COVID-19? Duval County School Police Director Michael Edwards told the school board today that 2 specific shelters, one on either side of the river, will be designated for those at high risk of spreading the disease. The director also said after a hurricane or severe weather event, emergency workers at each facility perform standard deep cleaning, a deep cleaning process. But Tarek, this year, they're going to be doing that twice as an extra precaution.
So they're going to use all of this, weather that we know is coming, and they're talking about how bad this hurricane season is going to be, which it just fits right into everything that they're doing right now. So, but let's get into this article. All right, it says Hurricane Prep Tax Holiday underway. Starting Friday, shoppers in Florida emerging from coronavirus stay-at-home orders can avoid paying sales tax while putting together disaster preparation stockpiles for the 2020 hurricane season. You see how nice, look, we're helping you out, come get prepared right now, and you don't have to pay sales tax, In addition to helping residents buy everything from coolers to generators, Florida Retail Federation President and CEO Scott Shelley hopes the 7-day tax holiday can provide a boost for businesses suffering from the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic. I think you're going to see, again, additional incentives from the retailers to encourage sales for disaster preparation, Shelley said. You'll continue to see, of course, all of the safe and smart shopping measures in terms of social distancing and sanitizing, but you're going to see an emphasis on sales of batteries, coolers, and those sorts of things that help people get prepared now. Okay? They are stressing this. You need to go do this right now.
And be sure to tune in ABC 7 this Sunday for the first night of our 1-hour Surviving a Hurricane special. On May 31st and June 1st, we'll have expert information on how you can prepare for this upcoming hurricane season. Our First Alert weather team is going to be going over everything you need to know to be ready for any storm that may come our way. Again, that special airs Sunday night.
The Atlantic hurricane season starts Monday, and Florida emergency management officials are making response plans with coronavirus in mind. The state created a reserve of 10 million face masks, 1 million face shields, and 5 million gloves. Residents in flood zones will have to evacuate, but others may be told it's safest to stay in your home. Caps will be placed on the number of people allowed in shelters, and utility officials are working to establish more staging areas to reduce crowds. Last week, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration became the latest organization to forecast an above-average hurricane season.
Hurricane season begins Monday, and New Orleans says the city is ready, but preparing for storms comes with an added complication of COVID-19. Devin Bartolotta explains the changes for this year and what you should do to keep your family safe.
The city of New Orleans will spend the summer braced for two threats.
This will be unprecedented, meaning being in hurricane season in the midst of a pandemic.
The pandemic hasn't stopped preparations, though. The health department has resurveyed all sheltering sites to allow for social distancing. The Sewerage and Water Board says all 99 drainage pumps are working, and it's focusing on canals. And NOPD's water rescue equipment is ready. But the city wants residents to do their part because safest at home may not stay that way.
But I'm adding in this year my concern that people will be more afraid of COVID than they are of a major hurricane, and that is wrong. If there is a major hurricane bearing down on this city, the magnitude of that hurricane is much greater to the risk of life than the spread of pandemic.
The city suggests you should add masks and sanitizers to an evacuation kit, work COVID-19 prevention into your plan, and make sure family and friends with medical needs are registered and updated in the New Orleans Special Needs Registry.
If we have to evacuate this year, the main theme of this is going to be social distancing and PPE, and I'm talking about medical grade PPE. Everyone who participates in the city-assisted evacuation will be in an N95 mask.
Outsmarting COVID and outrunning a storm will take coordination, but New Orleans says it's ready.
It is certainly the most advanced hurricane storm damage risk reduction system in the nation, but it can only do just that. It reduces risk.
You better be ready. You better have your mask. You better have PPE. You better have all your batteries, your generators, everything ready to go. And then also, you better be prepared to try to get through this when you have to deal with all your lockdown orders, all of your, all the other stipulations that are in effect still. And if something comes and happens at your home, you're going to have to figure out what you can do. So I really want people to stay ahead of this. They're telling you to prepare, but they're not looking out for you. I am. I want you to look ahead of this. Stay ahead of them, because when they're talking like this and they're all together talking, it's, if you just, go and do a search on it, it is nonstop. It doesn't matter what it is. CNN, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, it just goes on and on and on. They're all covering the same thing. So obviously they're programming and pushing this into people's heads, okay?
You need to be prepared, have your insurance up to date, your plans up to date, where you're going to go, what you're going to do, and then in the pandemic lifestyle, where you're going to go becomes very important.
They say the most important question right now, where will you go in case of an evacuation? They say the pandemic does not stop because a hurricane season has started.
So if I'm going that way, where am I going to stay? If I'm going to friends, are they going to accept me? Or, have they isolated themselves and taken good care of themselves, social distance?
Even inside emergency management, they will be taking precautions.
We will be doing screening procedures because we just about cannot scale it back inside.
After today's tropical storm hit the northern part of the Lowcountry, they say even now people should prepare for weather events.
They just prepare for some flooding, and that's what we're worried about now is freshwater flooding.
They suggest having a hurricane fund in case a storm interrupts your family's daily routine for several days in a row. They say it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, here's a part right here. Social distancing and other federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidance to keep you safe from COVID-19 may impact the disaster preparedness plan you had in place, including what's in your Go Kit, evacuation routes, shelters, and more. Yeah, shelters and more, that's the part. Carlos Castilla, Acting Deputy Administrator for Resilience for the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Who? What? FEMA. What do we know? We all love FEMA, right? Said in a prepared statement, with tornado season at its peak, hurricane season around the corner, and flooding, earthquakes, and wildfires a risk year-round, it is time to revise and adjust your emergency plan now. I'm telling you, they are going to use these storms. They are going to build these storms and make them worse. We have to stay ahead of this. Please stay ahead of this, because if you get hit by a storm and you don't have something set up, you're not going to be able to really do anything, but you're going to be, lost with having to go to them and having to go to a shelter and then getting tested or getting put in quarantine or getting put in some type of an isolation and taken away from your family possibly. So just stay ahead of this. That's the whole thing, is to look ahead of this. And another thing, they make so much money off these storms, whether they hit or not. I mean, you look at all the storms that miss, and everybody buys the stores out. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go and prepare, because, yeah, it's unpredictable and you have to make sure that you're prepared. But I'm just saying they can say that a storm's coming and show you a path that it's going to be on, then change the path, then change the path again, and now you got 3 locations instead of 1 that went and stocked up and emptied every single Walmart or Home Depot or whatever it was. And now when them coming out like this, they're trying to get you to come out and spend the money, whatever money you have left, if you have any. Okay, I love how it's like, oh, we'll take away your sales tax. Oh, that's real nice, right? Thanks. That really saved me a lot of money. Pathetic. It truly is, the way they make this sound like they're helping you and looking out for you and trying to help these businesses. It's sad. It's sad. And anytime we hear FEMA come into it, there's no doubt that it's always trouble. Anytime you ever hear FEMA, run the other way if you can. I mean that's it, for real. Alright, I will leave all the information and links in the description. I hope all of you are doing well. Thank you all for your prayers for my family and my mom, my son. We are all doing okay. I'm glad to be back on here and being able to, start making my videos, as much as I can again. And we'll get the truth out to you guys. We definitely will. I'm working on another video right now about just why they want to test so bad, and a little bit more on the masks and why I believe that they're making us wear these masks, or they're going to eventually make it 100% mandatory and make it an actual law. In my state, Gretchen Whitmer, she is unbelievable. She's done over 100 executive orders, and I am working on a video just about her and Michigan and how it's crazy what we're going through here. I mean, it's about as, dystopian as you can get, for real. But let's just remember, no fear, no panic. As long as you have Jesus, as long as you have that faith, and you always know that no matter what they do, you have your faith. You have Jesus right here, right? So you look over your shoulder, and who do you got? You got Jesus there. You look back, and you're like, I can tackle anything now. I mean, you can do all this stuff you want in front of me. I'm going to just knock that wall down, It's just a beautiful feeling to have it, and I truly wish more people had it, and if you don't, please ask him into your heart today. Ask for forgiveness, and he will. I mean, he will change your life. You will be, I promise you will never be happier if you have that faith and that, just that knowing that he's with you at all times. Thank each and every one of you. We will get through all this craziness, and the days continue to go on, and I will continue to do everything I can to get the information out to you guys. Thank you all. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.